part.
Oh, scissors? We got scissors
I
too.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not that delicate.
And then,
So I got a little piece. Starting with it in your palm of your hand. Are you right-handed?
nope.
Left-handed?
That's why we
Okay.
sat together. We thought maybe that
Yeah.
I wonder if I can do this right-handed. Let's try it. So then it would be
would. Oh, if you're gonna do it that
round.
way. I was thinking if I faced him, that it would be.
Circle maybe get the smaller and smaller.
I'm so bad doing things left-handed, even though it's what I do everything with.
Ambidextrous.
Well, all right, so let me see if I can even, no, I don't have enough thumb.
Okay. That's okay. You can go with them. I'll just keep working on it.
Okay,
Okay, so do we go through this first loop?
so we got,
Just can learn
I
it.
can't
all right,
remember.
so you've got your tail in your palm, right?
Right?
And the working yarn's on top, right? Of your loop.
Working yarn is on top.
Okay.
And then,
That's probably
I don't know, I just drape it over my thumb because otherwise it's in the way. Pinch it, and then, so now the working yarn comes out of the top of your thumb, right?
Yeah. Oh.
And you go in from thumb to finger.
That's what my. Okay.
That's why we'll do this without trying to have left and right. From
Okay.
thumb to finger, twist it towards the crease between your finger and your thumb,
Ah, okay.
and then go underneath this piece of yarn. Now hang on to the tail, because otherwise it's gonna all fly out onto the floor.
It slipped out of your first loop.
Is that what happened? Underneath what piece?
And that becomes your first loop. See how this is now just dangling here?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Yeah, where'd he
I
go?
think I'm getting worse and worse.
Okay. Pinch
So,
thumb to finger.
Okay.
then you end up with this, you basically end up with it tied around your thumb again.
Twist.
Okay, so I have that.
So then you pick up the yarn, twist it, pick up the underneath on the thumbprint of your thumb, put your yarn, you put your needle underneath towards your finger, underneath from outside to inside. You're going from inside to outside.
Oh, from here?
Yeah, from out, see where,
Outside.
outside from thumbnail to thumbprint. In, twist, and then, oops, that's not tight enough. And twist it, and then stick it underneath the X created by the yarn, by this loop.
X.
And from thumbnail to thumbprint, so I'm basically poking my index finger with the needle, twisting it, whoops, twisting it and then putting it underneath. So you end up with,
Well, I'm on the back side of my thumb.
well,
Where's the X that I'm supposed to be going under?
okay. We'll twist again.
Short end is going out across your palm.
Okay. So I end up with, after the first stitch, I end up with tail in my hand,
Take a picture of it.
and basically,
And that goes under the tail or over the
and then this comes from the thumb underneath, and then underneath here, so that you end up with a twist in the yarn. All right, you got a first loop on your, so keep that up on your thumb. Push him back a little. I don't know why you guys are weighing the tips of your thumb. I always use the middle bone of my,
Okay.
but but your stitches are going to be smaller because your thumbs are smaller. So in, twist it, and then underneath, you end up with, it's pointing back towards the web of your hand, and then you just keep pulling, and it all kind of flies through there in making a yucky mess. and then you've got a knot here on your thumb, and a loop in the front, and you push that front loop off, and then he becomes the one that you go in, twist, and back under, and then he pulls through again. And then you end up with this kind of like mess on the back of your thumb. Don't worry about that. And then your previous one is on the front. Your new one that you just put on, because you can always tell, because you
Make it bigger.
you move him, and then when you pull on the tail, he gets tighter. So you can tell if he's in the right position by pulling on it, and then it ends up the one behind. So now this one is the old one and the new one. Push the old one off, and then use the old one as the starting point to go in, twist, and then go underneath the current one. And then you end up pulling him through. Oh, my working yarn's too short. There we go. Then you end up with just this glop of knots on your thumb until it decides it's going to actually become fabric. And you just keep persisting, and eventually it decides it's going to fall into line because you get enough loops. So it's from thumb towards finger, twist back towards web, underneath everything, and pull. And you end up with the new knot behind the old knot. Where is he? Can't pull on him. There we go. And then you end up,
Then you push the new knot off.
you push the old one off,
Push the old one.
push the front one off. So there you go. Now you got it. Push that guy off. And then that becomes the one you go through for the next.
This one?
Yeah. So that becomes, see, now I push this guy off,
Okay.
and then he becomes, now he's out here like hanging way in front of everybody else. So then I go from thumbnail to index finger underneath, twist it back towards the web of your hand, and then underneath everything,
I am extremely.
underneath the previous
So that's why language is.
stitch. There you go, almost. No, this one here, right underneath there. Yeah, underneath there, and then pull. And then it should land, oh, this should be landing on top of your thumb, behind the other guy.
Behind this one?
Yeah, because then that becomes the new one. That becomes, the new one is in the back, the old one is in the front.
Okay.
And then you just push that guy off, the front, and then he goes again, from thumbnail into index finger, twisting underneath, and around and around and around you go.
I don't think this is right.
And what stitch is
This
this
can't be
called?
right.
This is the Oslo stitch. This is the simplest of all
That's
stitches.
what I thought.
It's the Oslo, really should be called Osseberg, but everybody in Oslo kind of just absconded with everything Osseberg.
And
Because it's on the Oslo fjord. So
Can you show how to start it again? Because I think I can process now how to do the
see this whole business?
But I
Okay.
don't know that every time
right.
I started it, it was not holding. I don't know if
Throw that
I've
away.
got the working yarn